Alright, let's knock out this last chapter, guys. Chapter 10, Coming Home. A house is not a home unless it contains food and fire for the mind as well as the body. Benjamin Franklin. It's an real interesting quote. And we find ourselves on this journey and falling off at times. Becoming tired, hurt, upset, lost. Right? But we can always come home. You know, when you're having just a tough time and you go back to where you grew up and you reset, you're around your kin. It was like when we came home, my mother was selling our childhood home, and we definitely weren't happy about that. You know, we hold all these memories here. This is like what defines us. And now you're telling me I gotta let it go. And we had a great last visit there and everything, but it was like something was getting just closed, and there wasn't going to be this home to go to nurture me, to love me unconditionally. But then you can think about it as well, like, even though I couldn't do it in the physical anymore, like, I can still picture the aloe plant. I can see the cats wanting to come in from the porch, scratching on the garage door. You know, and I can go right back to these places and trigger that emotion of coming home, even though that this is eliminated now here. So let's dive into like why we even feel like that. Why do we need to go to this place of comfortability, of knowing, of experience? Why do we feel lost or alone? You know, in my opinion, I think there's just there's some kind of separation. You know, you're lacking the whole. And you know that if you come home, like if you would go back to where the house you grew up in with the people around you, it's there for you. You know, what you're lacking. And then you gotta ask the second question, which is, why do I feel with certainty that when I come home, there's going to be unconditional love? To be honest, that was the first time I ever asked myself that question. And I guess it comes from an experience that, like I know, right? With certainty. It's like, am I? I am. There's no separation. It doesn't even occur to me. So if I can experience this by coming back to, you know, I talk about in the book, to a family reunion, or if I can just go back to those memories and take myself there, Then my third question is, right, if I'm seeing it from both already the physical environment and from a memory, right, triggered emotional response. Can I take it to another level, right? Can I take it further? Because right now I can experience coming home in both those places. You know, a certain smell may come over, chicken noodle soup, and you are transported back to the house you grew up in. Or when you physically go to places or you're surrounded by your immediate family. So, taking it further, right? What I'm talking about is the hierarchy. See if I can spell that right. Kids, parents, grandparents, cousins, nephews, uncles, nieces. Then you got what? Clans. Then we got nationalities. And then we have Earth surface dwellers. But in our top mind awareness, when we talk about coming home, home is where the heart is, the people you want to be closest to. We live in that physical environment. Like, this immediate family is the first thing that we think about in the top mind awareness. Always. Yet I'm part of something that's completely whole here for breaking it down into a common denominator. And then we find that we have so much more in common than we do differences. And that's a tough place to go to, right? When you say who's my real family and who means more to me and this and that. And at times before, I didn't like it. I didn't like hearing things when my sister's like, that's my sister's kids be like, that's my brother, that's my sister. I'm like, they're not your blood. We're not really related. And that was completely the wrong way of thinking. You know, that was me seeing a separation. And if we just break it down further and further and further, we all see that we're the same family. Do you go to bed at night and wake up in the morning? Me too. But you're going to get lost on the path. It's going to be hard to come home sometimes. I mean, the example I talk about in the book is when I got lost in Yellowstone and I went out to see bears. Really wanted to see grizzly because black bears are pretty common. So I walked out 3 miles into bear country. You could tell all the trees were just ripped down, claw marks. Then I mistakenly didn't think about it, busted open a tuna pack, had some lunch, like, oh, that was probably a bad idea. But anyway, the sun, you know, was getting kind of low, and I was like, well, you know, hike 3 miles in, I got to get back to the car. You know, I'm out in the middle of nowhere. There's no cell service, or there's no one around at all, period. And I'm walking back, and I come across this prairie, and I don't see no marker. There's no marker on any tree, you know. And I walk across, and there's a stream flowing through here. And I just panicked. I was like, whoa, I cannot find the trail. I have a bottle of water and like a protein bar in my bag. And I'm wearing shorts. You know, you're in Yellowstone, it gets cold at night. You're in the mountains, you're up in high elevation. I'm in bear country. Nobody is going to help me. There's nowhere to call for help or get help. It's like hardcore survival mode kicks in, right? And then I could not think. I was just trying to bull my way. You know, I'm scared, and I'm just like, I'm going this way. I'll follow the river this way. And finally I stopped and I'm just like, okay, what would Bear do? And I go, man, I should just go back to that marker. So I just walked back, found the tag over here on the tree, and I was like, let's try this again. Second time it worked out. Found the marker. Thank God I did, because I got right back at sunset. But we'll find ourselves lost with this separation. And home is always just right there. It's kind of like an example. Are you trying to bull your way to find the marker, or are you just going to reset and go home and know that everything's all good at home? You always have those feelings with certainty. I'm going to read this one sentence here. Home, sweet home, at times feels so long ago, but really time is happening all at once, everywhere, everything. It is our emotion that triggers the memory of past, current, and future events. And that was an interesting sentence. I mean, like I said, this book wasn't planned out or outlined in any manner. It was all inspiration channeled, so to speak. I mean, I had an idea in my head. I'm like, what chapter are we going to write next? How is this going to flow? So going through these videos helped me interpret the information again to get a better understanding of it. And this is, I thought about Edgar Casey. He's the most prolific prophet of our time. He has 20,000 readings in Virginia Beach. And he's like, when you look down on it from the higher levels, he's like, it's all happening at one time. And you think into this avatar of Stephen, and I'll have an emotion which triggers these points in my life. And then I'm starting to live over here in more thoughts. This emotion, instead of going up here to the higher and looking down on it. So it's like, how do you intertwine these different pieces of what makes you up? Like, we'll go back to that quote, right? A house is not a home unless it has food and fire for the mind as well as the body. And it's like, well, if it needs the fire, where's that? Where's the fire at, right? As long as you are drawing breath, the fire's burning. I mean, it could be scalding hot or very dim. And it's like, well, what's your fuel source? So it's easily attainable to get a good fire going. I took this guy took me out to lunch while I paid. So I took him. He was a public speaker, came to the marketing group, and he was a journalist in Iraq. And he was just, inspirational, motivational type of dude. And you go, man, Scott, how do you do it on days where you're like, not today, bud, not feeling it, and that you're driving that other train. You go, Steven, two dogs are fighting at the end of the week. One dog's been fed all week, and one dog's, been starved. Who do you think's going to win? And I made the mistake like most people do. I go, oh, the scrappy dog's going to want to win, man. He's going to climb that mountain. He goes, this dog is in like perfect shape. It's super healthy, muscular density. This thing's barely getting into the ring. I was like, oh, that makes sense. So we can get this fire to tune up so we can have this coherent frequency between mind, body, and soul so that we can come home. Because we're spending too much time and Steven, on this physical, and we feel like home is all the way over here in the horizon. The sun's coming down, and I don't know if we're going to get there tonight. I'm lost to Yellowstone. I might have to stay the night out here. Fend for my life. Instead of going up to this, where the crown chakra opens up, and know that it's right there for us. I mean, even if you've been Danny DeVito twins, Always Sunny in Philadelphia bad, you can always return to the house of the holy. Because that's just third dimensional duality, mind trick, labeling, telling yourself a story and then believing it because you are so powerful. You have to let yourself come home too. Let yourself be forgiven. Because the main insight in this book, and the thing I say all the time, is like, when I see you, I see me. And that's got to be top mind awareness. And if I can do that, another one I like is live through me, I'll live through you. And so, if I can't go to my physical childhood home anymore, but I can go there in my mind, reminiscing about it with my mom or my sister, that's real. And it's like, if I can come down and look at it, if I can't do those things, let's say neither one of those are available, can you take a moment and break down the denominator to see that there is a family? And if I need love, can I ask for it? Will it come unconditionally, or am I telling myself that I can never come home because I've been bad? And like, understanding, controlling that thought process is just one part of who you are, and that you're the one hearing the thoughts and actions defined good or bad are not end all be all. I love that we talk about in yoga. It's just a practice. We're all doing the best we can. So let's welcome coming home. Finishing this book up, and hopefully it makes some sense to you guys. It helped me a lot. It was interesting. I mean, the way I wrote it was chapters only 2 pages. Hook up the video and explore those topics a little further. More repetition, more changing the top mind awareness. How you doing? I heard today. Can't complain. I was like, you should try. I'm doing better than I deserve, my mom was telling me. Awareness. Home. Bonds. Just one. Let's just touch on that. There's only one home. All we are is just a splinter of expression. That's why it's easy to say, when I see you, I see me. Again, breaking things down to a common denominator. Everything is carbon-based in this universe. We all have to adhere to certain laws of physics, even though we don't understand a lot. But being able to go up to that place where immediate family, cousins, clans, nations, earth dwellers, about being of the Milky Way, and then on top of that, right, and even higher dimensions, the 6 and above, well, what they do is they lay it out so we can play it out. And it's a nice, coherent dance, and the book was designed to just help you understand the dance a little bit, because it feels like you've been doing the Cabbage Patch too long or something, you know what I mean? Like, there's different soundtracks and genres to the different levels of vibration and frequency, just the different vibrations between the color of the sky and the color of the ground, right? I know this is like not, it's probably hard. I mean, God, it's so hard for me. I'm not perfect. I'm failing all the time. People ask me how I'm doing at the restaurant. I've said, running the path, sometimes stumbling, sometimes succeeding. You know what I mean? Live through me, I'll live through you. Where I'm weak, you're strong, and vice versa. I think that's all I want to say on that, I guess. I guess I just got to understand that we can come and we can choose. We got the free will. It's like we come home whenever we want. Say, hey, you know, one thing that was hard for me was hard to say I'm sorry. And once I learned that, it made things so much easier. Just be like, you're way right. Tell me about this. Giving that power to somebody and then living through them and understanding how they feel, and I'm like experiencing it with you. You know? In the book, I'm talking about, you know, a house isn't a home unless we're all thriving together, loving together, succeeding together, failing together, forgiving together, growing together. You know, as LeBron said in 2016 there in that nice Nike commercial, 1, 2, 3, hard work, 4, 5, 6, together. Let's keep doing it together. Smile big, shine bright.